brown teeth joking straight away?
No, you're not. I'll chuck Rachel one in.
Okay, Army fans, welcome to another episode of Dirty Old Podcast with Gav B. We'll go to Gav B. Where you at, Gav?
Scotland.
Scotland, he says. Yeah. Sunny Scotland.
Salford.
We got Rousey. How we doing, Rousey? You okay, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Yes. Big up your chest, Salford fans.
And Daniel Shepherd. How we doing, Danny?
Howdy doody. I'm good, thanks.
Good. Excellent. Well, how is everybody first and foremost? We all keeping well? Are we all happy?
We're all happy. We're all not as good as Gav at the minute.
Feel better than recent weeks, to be honest. As in football-wise.
Yeah, well, kind of. What a season's always got its ups and downs and twists and turns, hasn't it? And to be fair, it's been never stops twisting and turning, does it? Every game by game, it's going one way and going the other at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know if that's stressing me out or it's making me happy.
Walk up a little bit, haven't we, with these heart attacks at the end of the games? My drink intake has significantly increased at home games. So going to bar where I usually have 2 or 3 pints, it's 5 or 6 pints just to try and get through the game. Yeah. So yeah, all good. Did you get your car sorted out, Rousey? Get it all sorted?
Yeah. It was sorted within 12 hours. To be fair, I needed it for work, so I had to pay the fine.
Had to.
Hey,
damn it.
Message of the day: pay your car tax, folks.
God, you wrote it.
Danny, how's your podcast doing?
All right, yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to retire on it anytime soon. But it's the main thing is for me.
You're enjoying it, aren't you, Dan?
I'm enjoying it. So if I got 0 listeners, to me, the fact I get the stuff out of my brain and get it into the world, that's enough for me. So
all good, mate.
I'm talking to a bathroom mirror, ain't it?
Yeah, kind of.
I was kind of toying with the idea because I still look after the forum, and I was wondering whether there was something we can do on the forum where people, it won't be everybody's cup of tea because not everybody's confident on speaking on a mic and sending voice notes, but you got voice notes on phones these days where people, if you want to write a long text message, you'll just say it in a voice note, for instance. So like where you'd have on the forum, Danny, where you'd be putting your long post on there, which would not only take you a long time to type it, but
4 hours.
It's kind of some people, like for me, I'd rather listen to something rather than read it. That's my kind of cup of tea. So I was wondering whether I could find a forum way where people could just voice note and communicate on a message by message basis where people can listen to them. I don't know if that would work, but
sounds interesting.
Yeah. So see where that goes. But anyway, chaps, let's get into it. I can't remember who said was doing what. So I know we kind of said like Colchester, we'll kind of just do because let's be honest, it's a game that we want to forget. Nobody really wanted to do that game. So 1-0 defeat at home. It wasn't pleasing, was it, guys? I mean, what can you remember from it, if anything?
Me?
Who wants to go? Anybody? Just talk about the game.
It was one to forget. One we should have won, one we probably needed to win to stay in the thick of the playoff race. If not, still was we not. I know we can still get third technically or mathematically, but at the time we had a belting chance of staying in that push for the final automatic spot. But yeah, I just think we let ourselves down massively that game. I don't know whether it was overconfidence. I'm not too sure what it was, but the performance on the pitch didn't portray that. We were miles off the pace, in my opinion. Colchester, I know there was a bit of shithousery, the word, in terms of not necessarily cheating, but going down at every opportunity and stopping play where they can, and just the way the game planned out, it was awful. It was scruffy. The goal was a terrible goal to concede from memory, a deflected shot that P rolled past at Cairns, and it was just a nightmare night for me from start to finish. I don't like playing Colchester anyway. I've always said it, and Gav knows that. I won't say they're our bogey team. They're just rubbish games. We've never really had a good game against them from memory anyway. I know we've beat them, but it just always just seems to be really, really poor games. And again, that was another one for me. Like I said, I don't know in terms of possession. I know we tried to get back in the game. I think from my opinion, too late in the second half, but we made a few changes and we dominated possession and shots and stuff like that. But like I said, we should have never really been in that position for me. 1-0 down with when he started making substitutions, was it 60, 65 minutes or something? We should have been, look at league positions and form and the way we can play. We should have been out of sight up until then. So yeah, just a really, really poor game and a bad night at the office.
Just on the subs, Rousey, I was just thinking as you were talking there, I thought it was later than this, but he didn't bring Callum Morton on in a game we were losing till the 82nd minute.
Yeah, it was late. Yeah,
big January signing, you know what I mean? Like big hype and done absolutely nothing. So I keep writing people off at me, and it's coming back to bite me. 1 minute I'm writing bloody Watt off a few months ago. Then I'm writing Callum Hendry off. Then he comes back and he's proved me wrong. Barry's done okay, but Callum Morton, it just seems like if the manager doesn't trust him, he's not going to play him.
No, I don't. I don't dislike Morton. I think he's probably a good lad, and you can see his work ethic on the pitch. He runs about, he gets busy, but he's just too lightweight. I think for this league, I don't know whether he's done it at this level for other teams. I don't know too much about him, unfortunately. But like I said, he just seems to get bounced off the ball and into the next bleeding postcode zone when he gets shoulder barged. He's, like I said, for his energy and his enthusiasm, I can't ever remember him really having a shot on target for us, let alone, a good performance. It's a shame for him. Yeah, I think he's out of his depth a little bit. Like I said, but he doesn't get the chance now because that's probably happened too many times for Neil Woods like him. But yeah, just to obviously just go back to the Colchester game. Yeah, I don't know. We should have threw everything but the kitchen sink at them a lot earlier than we tried to. I think Neil Wood probably got to whenever the first substitution was. Again, I don't know because I've not looked at it, but it felt like 60, 70 minutes. It's too late. You know what I mean? They're already 2 banks of 4.
It was the 61st minute, and I think Lund came on for Mallon.
Yeah, bang on.
And then there was one in the 71st, 72nd minute, and then Morton came on the 82nd. But it's one of them games. What's disappointing is, look, losing a game 1-0, it can happen. There's to lose a game 1-0. If you're going to lose a game, we'd rather lose 1-0 than 2, 3, 4. But I think it was such a perfect opportunity where Colchester were we did say on the last podcast they haven't been beaten in the last 5 games. That was the positive for them. But before that, there wasn't a lot really that was positive for them. And I think the disappointing thing is if we would have won that game against Colchester, we could have gone into the Carlisle game with a little bit of flexibility going into the Gillingham game at home, where we all know the Gillingham game we're going to need to win. We're going to need to win that game at home without doubt. But we could have maybe gone, well, do you know what? If we won that at Colchester and we get beat against Carlisle, we'd be in the position where we are now, where it's still probably in our own hands going into the Gillingham game. Whereas now it kind of still puts a bit of pressure on going into the Carlisle game because we'll come into Carlisle later, but they've got potentially an opportunity to get automatic promotion. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be really tough. I think what does concern me is the results of recent, albeit being good, and we're getting the never say die, and we're getting over the line. It does concern me against a team like Carlisle that we can't afford to be going in and playing to the last minute and try and get a last minute goal. We need to be on the front foot.
Well, we can't get away with it with teams like Colchester's level. We're not going to get away with it against Carlisle, are we? That's the thing, you know. Although the last 2 wins have been last minutes and, you know, great, like I was there moments. They shouldn't really be happening. Do you know what I mean? If you're doing your job right, and I think Carlisle will, because they're fighting for the same things as we are at the minute. And yeah, I don't think we'll get those opportunities. It'd be great if we do, but I don't think we'll get them away at Carlisle. Do you know what? Does that make sense? I think they'll, if they're in a position where they're beating us come 80 minutes, they'll do their job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, talking about Colchester, plain and simple for me is they wanted it more, and it was just the same old Salford. We had no new ideas. We didn't change. They were just quicker to a ball, wanted it more, and plain and simple, just a bad day at the office.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing I wanted to point out, just then we can move on, is it seems to be a common theme where we concede. It's a type of goal that we concede. So their player, that Chilvers, was obviously going into the game. He's played the best player for them, but it's what teams do against us all the time, and it's usually from our left-hand side, which is Touray's side. I'm not trying to just mention that to bring Touray into the fold. It does happen from the other side as well, but it does seem to happen more often from Touray's side. Their winger picks it up, and Chilvers did it about 5 minutes before he scored. He picked it up, he ran right across towards the front of our goal. None of our back four would come out to make a tackle, and he'd be getting a shot off. And we can see goals like that all the time, and that's exactly how they scored. Again, picked the ball up from our left hand side, ran right across the pitch, nobody tackling him, and he's just pinged it off. And it's frustrating because you just need somebody just to step out. And I know you want to try and keep the line intact, but you need to make a tackle because it happens all the time. It's frustrating to watch. Yeah. Gav, you're going to do the Hartlepool review, I believe. Am I right?
Well, I nominated you, Gav. If you've not made notes, I've got notes, mate. But yeah, just give us your feeling, lad. Give us your feeling.
A little bit up here, and what I'm feeling.
Well, let's go with you, Gav. Let's go with Gav off the top of the old bin lid. And then if you miss anything, I'm sure Rousey can fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Hartlepool first, I thought they were terrible. I thought they were poor. We couldn't have beat them. There was something wrong. So a disappointing side for me first was I think we should have won 5 or 6-0 because they were poor. So it's disappointing that we couldn't move on from the 2-0. But the two things which probably stuck out for me most was the quality of Mallon's passing, especially for his second goal, and Shepherd as well, his cross for Smith's header. Them two things were two things which stood out for me. The rest of it was a bit same old Salford. Nothing much special, but like I said, they were fantastic pass outside of his boot. I think it was Mallon. Like I say, he's got it in his toolkit, and having Shepherd on the right who can put a decent ball in. So that were the two highlights for me. The rest of it was, over to Rousey sort of thing.
Good review, Gav. Yeah, no, it was well, just obviously off the back of the Colchester game. I'm just glad that it come round as quickly as it did, because you need to, wrong your rights and put that to bed. And it was a good chance, obviously, for us to, to get another 3 points on the board. A game we needed to win. I know we did win, but we needed to win it, just obviously just to remain in that playoff title playoff promotion push, I should say. Look, I was looking at the stats before. It was actually closer than it felt, as I know Gav's just said there, and I would have agreed with him pre-looking at stats that although it was almost 50-50 in terms of possession and actual shots, believe it or not, they had as many shots as us in the game. We won't see, I know there's not many games left, but we haven't seen a team as poor as Hartlepool really come to us. They didn't really, although they started the game quite well in terms of possession and getting a few shots off at Cairns. I just felt that we hadn't clicked. We didn't start. I think it took us a few minutes, obviously, to get ourselves settled. Obviously, I think the the goal came around about 13, 15 minutes, was it? Something like that. And I think from that point, as soon as the goal went in, we just never looked like getting beat, I don't think. I don't think they really offered much. But yeah, like I said, I had a quick browse over the stats before, just because I thought, well, you know, Gav's obviously away and he's not got access to all that bits of information at short notice. But yeah, it was 51% possession. We had 13 shots each, 6 on target. We had 3 off. But yeah, surprisingly, like I said, there was 4 or 5 shots that Alex Cairns actually blocked and made. So yeah, it was a surprising one. But yeah, I do. I agree with Gav. I don't think that they really brought anything to the party, and that was how I felt the Colchester game should have gone. It should have been that, you know, that golfing class. You do your job at home, you win the game. It wasn't anything to write home about, but we got the job done.
I think we kind of said though, you know, it's coming to that point of the season now, isn't it, where you just got to go over the line, and you know, I know. There's been moments where we've played like this mid-season as well, or you know, at some point in the season where the football hasn't maybe been as electric and as entertaining as we've had at some point in the season, where every game we've played, it's been really high intense, very fluid football. It is what it is. And the Hartlepool are down there. You know, I think up until that point they were still, you know, in that relegation battle. So. You know, these games can be difficult, and we got over the line. It was comfortable. Yes, I think they came on for the last 10 minutes and tried to press and tried to get a goal. Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe I'm giving them a little bit of a disservice there, but that's inevitable. They had everything. They had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So them pushing on didn't concern me. They didn't really look like, remember from the game, but 5 or 6 pints in. It's a bit cloudy. I don't think they really tested us. I wasn't really worried. I wasn't sitting there thinking we're going to lose this game. So yeah, we'll come on to we'll come on to Shepps as well a little bit later on. But let's go into the Walsall game then, Danny. Again, another kind of AFC Wimbledon sort of all over again, wasn't it? In terms of you know, kind of scoreline and the excitement towards the end, Danny. So take us through the emotion.
Yeah, I might not quite do that, but I'm forgetting which is which, because there has, like Gav said earlier on, there's been so many last gaspers, you know, in the last few weeks. But the first thing I wanted to say, and it's something that Gav was talking about him a few minutes ago, Stevie Mallon. I actually think that the Walsall game was the first game that Stevie Mallon has been fully fit. That's my thought, because I've never seen the guy run as much as he did in that game. He was everywhere. And again, I keep giving him criticism for his mobility and his build and all this kind of thing, you know. But I just think that if he can play like that for 90 minutes for extended, you know, runs of games, then we've really got something, because we know about he can strike a ball, he can shoot, he's a great passer. He's probably not a central defensive midfield player, but I'm sure we can find a place for him, you know, in next season. But Walsall, I can't decide whether Walsall didn't turn up in the first half because they had like 1 shot and 0 on target, or we were just very good. I prefer to say that I think we were good. I enjoyed what we did in the first half. I really thought it was nice. It was nice play. A little bit of tactics before I get into the to and fro is that I think we had a very similar game plan to Walsall as we did in the game against Leyton Orient, because we tried to press early and we tried to put them under pressure and tried to win the ball back, putting 6 or 7 players in the half. And, you know, we scored quite early, not off a direct result of an interception or a tackle. I think it might have been before 10 minutes, the first goal anyway. And I just think what Neil Wood wants to do, he wants us to be a team who can score early, which is ideal, because then we're a good counter-attacking team with 2 fast wide men. You know, we can then start to play in behind teams. So I think that's one of the things that I saw. But going through the goals, again, I keep referring to Gav, but I think Shep, lovely cross into Hendry, and props to Hendry for actually getting in front of his marker. Something I criticise him for not doing.
No, he doesn't do it enough. You're right.
Yeah,
he doesn't do it enough.
So we can shake on that, Rousey, because I think it's not everybody's going to agree with my view on Callum, but so many crosses go into our box, so many low crosses go into our box, and he doesn't always get in front. But if I just watched it before we started recording, and Louis Barry acts as a kind of screen for Callum to go round him. I don't know whether that's an organised tactic, but he blocks the defender off from closing Callum out. So that's why Callum looks to be able to get to the ball for that first goal. In terms of the first half, I thought we're playing so well here and they haven't turned up. Why are we not winning by more? That concerned me. And as the game went, I think it becomes a concern if you can't start to put teams away. Second half, 1-1, their equaliser. Again, from memory, Luke Bolton was kind of our defender on the wide right, and he was beaten for the cross that was put in for the equaliser. So, it's not his role to stop the cross, but that's the kind of game we were playing when we were playing narrow. And then in terms of, the actual goals that won us the game, McElhenney's and Lund's, they were both subs, I believe, in the game, which is, is that amazing decision making by Neil Wood bringing on subs that score, or should they have already been on? I don't really know, but we won it. But we did eventually, get the point. Any thoughts from you all in terms of what you made of the game?
Well, the game changed when the defender cheated and went down in his face. We could clearly think Danzy pushed him in his chest or whatever. And it changed with them because prior to them, like you said, they didn't look that dangerous, but we only had a 1-goal lead, which is always dangerous for us. As soon as, like I said, Barry went off, they were up. They were well up for it. They were like gunning for us.
Hit the crowd up, didn't it, as well, Gav?
Yeah, hit the crowd. First time the crowd started singing, I think, like I said, the last 20 minutes, what would be 30 minutes, it was like, it was a proper game, to be honest. It was a proper good game. Prior to that, it was, we was comfortable, it was winning, but now we can say, now because we won, we can say it was a fantastic game. We loved every minute of it. I wish it was like that every week. But if we would have won, we would have said, what a lot of sources there. Yeah. But it was good. But that was a massive change of a game, obviously, when the centre-back, number 24, went down holding his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, I want to touch on that. Hopefully there'll be some repercussions for the Walsall player because, that's, it's cheating. At the end of the day, it's cheating. You're trying to get your opposing player sent off. Look, I know it goes on in the games where you might step on the toes to get a reaction, or you say something in the ear to get a reaction. That goes on, and that is part and parcel of the game. But when it reminded me, I remember when the ball hit Rivaldo in the corner. It was like hits him in the leg or something. Rivaldo goes down on his face. Yeah. It's just it's embarrassing. And to be fair, if the referee thought that was a red card offence for Barry, then the FA needs to look at that and go, that should be a red card offence for the Walsall player. He should subsequently be banned for 3 games. Simple as that.
It was a linesman, actually. The referee didn't see it.
I was just going to say that, Gav.
The linesman actually needs sorting out as well, because he's probably seen something in corner of his eye or something from a distance, because he should be getting back as well. He shouldn't be making that decision. He should be saying, right, something's happened. They should have both got a yellow. But the linesman shouldn't be making a decision like that to tell the ref to send him off.
It's funny, isn't it, how linesmen can't even make a decision over a throw-in, but yet they see something at the corner eye.
And again, I was just going to say that, Martin. They absolutely, every single game I watch a linesman in our division, they look and wait for the referee and see which way they give it before they flag. And yet this linesman had the balls to kind of go, no, do you know what? I've just seen him punch him. No, you didn't. What are you doing? Why are you even making that decision? Like, you clearly, Smith and Barry, it could have been either one of them if there was something thrown. There wasn't. Look, the lad's gone down, but yet he was adamant. He seen Barry punch him. Like, what? It was just a shambles of a decision.
I mean, kudos to the boys of after that sending off. 1-0 up, saw that sending off. I thought, that's going to be it. And then they equalise and think, right, okay, here's the start of it. And it went then back and forth, and then obviously they bring it back once again in injury time. And you think 2-2, that's gonna be it. And then to get a last minute win, and it does show. And it, teams won't want to play a team who are gonna keep pressing you to the end. Last minute of the game. That is something that we probably do better than. Again, I don't follow every single team when they score the goals, but all I've heard on the football programme of recent is how Salford have come back, and it's a dogged performance. And it kind of, again, just brought us back into that playoff hopefuls. We're going into the last 2 games of the season where we're in the playoff spots. It's kind of, it is ours to screw up.
Yeah,
and we've done that absolutely amazingly over the couple of seasons. We've screwed up playoffs. The last 2 seasons that I can remember, there's been a period of time where we've just blown it. But I'm glad going. I just hope last game of season we've got something to play for, because
something to play for. I agree with that. Yeah,
it'll be. I think it should. Well, touch wood. I'm hoping it's a good atmosphere, and it should be. So those 3 games, it leaves us in 7th. It's so tight, so close. We've. I could be wrong here, but I believe we're 7th.
We're actually 6th at the minute.
I was 6th.
Goal difference. Yeah, I think Bradford have got a game in hand, but we're 6th at the minute.
So we're on 72 points, though, aren't we?
62.
Stop it. But regardless, it's in our hands. Bradford have got a game in hand. But if they actually lose that game, even by 1-0, I think we will level on goal difference. So if they lose that 1-0, that game in hand, we move up a spot. We just gotta win our game on Saturday. That's the most important thing, and hopefully Bradford, Mansfield lose or drop, at least just drop points. Drop points is something.
Could I just ask, Martin?
Sure.
I'm just thinking. I think I've seen maybe a message or 2 on the message board about this. That I'm just wondering what your collective thoughts are about if we do go up. How do you think we could do with a very similar team to this, with 1 or 2 additions?
Well,
I don't think there'll be 1 or 2 additions. I think there'll be a lot more. If
11.
Yeah, no, I do. I really do think there'll be. I won't say 11, but I think there'll be a lot more if we go up. I think it'll be a totally different team. I don't think that's good. You can't keep doing that, but I do think there'll be, I'd say 5 or 6 minimum signings that come in. I think we'll do all right. I think the players that we've got, or certainly the decent players that we've spoke about in previous weeks, could do a job in League One, and a good job in League One. But it'd be a tough ask. I don't think we'll be pushing for promotion for a few years in League One. I think it'll take us 3, maybe 4 years to find our feet at that level again. But no, you don't know. I think we'll do okay. I'd like to say we won't do a forest green, go up and come straight back down. I think there's a bit more about us, and certainly our owners. But yeah, it's a good question, because the honest answer is I don't know. It just depends on who we bring in and how many we bring in.
One thing that I'd like to sort of find out, and I really haven't got the time to look at it, but I would like to look at each. We can do it in League Two, look at League One as well, but the size of each team's pitch, because I personally think we've probably got one of the smallest pitches in the league, and it certainly doesn't. What does surprise me is that where we are at this stage of the season. All right, home form's been a bit up and down, but it just to get a win on those type of pitches. We've always. I mean, I go back to the Wembley days of the Papa Johns and the playoffs. Big pitches suit us. All right, you're playing opponents, but big pitches have always suited the way that Salford seems to want to play. I think any manager that comes in, you've got the owners that says this is how we want to play. Is this? Can you get us playing this way? You can sort of see that happening, but the pitch for me is a bit too. It's just I don't know. It's just. I mean, I throw this more to Gav and Rousey because, and not to not include you on that, Danny, but I believe obviously Gav and Rousey go to more away games than certainly I do. what do you think about the pitch size? We've had this conversation before about our pitch size, but in comparison to all the away games that you've been to, what is your feeling against most teams in League Two?
It's a factor. We've spoke about it. We do play better on the bigger pitches, and I was just going to add there. Every time we've played a team from the league above, Shrewsbury, Derby, Peterborough, we've always played actually all right against them. So that's what I go off. I actually do think we'll do okay. I think when the pundits talk about the gulf in class between League One and Two, they always say they're very, very close leagues in terms of caliber of player. And don't get me wrong, I know there's some very, very big teams in there that have played Premier League football and I've got big backings and that, but I actually think that the class of football is a very, very similar level. I don't think, the pitch is a factor because we do play better on a big pitch, but like I said, in terms of class, I don't think there's much difference personally. I don't know what Gav thinks, but like I said, that's my opinion.
Rousey hasn't got a clue what he's talking about.
Go on.
Weird is, me and Rousey, more interested in our pint. Yeah? He's always steamers. Don't listen to a word he's saying. I'm done.
The pitch always looks bigger. There's two of them.
Yeah, that's what. That's it. It's like an NFL
massive
pitch when we get there.
Yeah, well, I agree with what Rousey said, to be honest. And as you brought it up, I don't necessarily look and measure a pitch, so to say, but they do obviously all look bigger. And the biggest point out one was when we play at Wembley, we always do better as well. Yeah. Not that we always play at Wembley every week, but it feels
play
like
anybody on Wembley. I mean, to come back to your point there, Danny, your question, I think for me, I'd expect that anybody that's out of contract this summer, I would like to think is on hold until we find out what division we're going to play in. I know we went through the playlist. I think if we stay in League Two, there's probably one or two that we kind of said would be good squad players. I think if we need to make the step up again, I'm kind of sick to death of the wholesale change, but unfortunately we've got a lot of players out of contract. Now, if they're out of contract, I'd rather, whilst they're out of contract, and then we can get our hands on better players, and I'd rather do that. But failing that, if we go into League One, again, it makes those players that become squad players. I don't think they would be good enough to sit on the bench for a League One outfit, and no. I think we're going to have to then look at more players to bring in. But who knows? Either way, I think even if we kept the same team we do now and go in League Two, I don't think we'll be sort of hitting the playoffs. But I would expect us to be somewhere around sort of 10th to 15th, 10th to 16th. I don't think we'll be relegation, and I don't think we'll be anywhere near playoffs. I think we'll just be doing a Walsall or something like that, sort of in that
team. Sorry? Accurate squad.
Yeah.
We're fighting for a relegation, man. I honestly think Leighton Orient, the quality of football they play, they're 10 positions ahead of us, and they're only mid-table League One. Our opinion.
Well, look, we only do positivity on this podcast. Maybe not.
Do it.
There's no negativity in saying sack all the shit and get some decent players.
Let's leave it there then. Have you heard that, Woody? Gav spoken. Do it.
He watches the podcast. Neil Wood watches the podcast.
And Nicky Butt as well. And Nicky Butt.
Yeah, they all do.
Something that Danny obviously wanted to add to the agenda was sort of the impact. Well, we can look at two ways: the impact or not the impact of Mariappa.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'll let Danny I'll let you explain why you wanted to bring it to the forefront, and then we can sort of venture out
and. For me, I mean, it's big reputation, long career in higher levels as Mariappa, and I wouldn't say I'm disappointed by him. I've just seen a few things that are a bit concerning. I think he does struggle to win a header against even average-sized strikers. He doesn't seem to win a lot of headers clean, which is a bit of a worry. I even read somewhere on the internet that the perception is he's a bit undersized, and I think he probably is. maybe maybe Premier League defenders aren't as big as we think, and etc. etc. But and I've also seen him giving the ball away a few times, which concerns me too. I think he's definitely better than Leak. So we're actually a better team without Leak, because it's addition by subtraction. You know what I mean? We've got someone who might not be perfect, but he's better than what we had. But I still do think, I think it was, I don't know if it was yourself, Martin, or Rousey or Gav, one of your memories gone to pot recently. We're talking about our left side being a target, whether it's, whoever we've got a left centre back, it's always going to be Touray, and that centre back get all the attention. I've not noticed that people have shied away from that side, even with Mariappa though, so they're still targeting us over there as well. So yeah, I think he's better than what we had, but he potentially could fall off a cliff any time his performance, because he's quite an old fella now, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't think he's. I mean, I don't really know. I mentioned it when he came. I don't know what I was expecting, because it's kind of. I said I think he'd be it or miss. I think it was just the case for me of having someone with that quality there that's done it and played at that level. I think that's invaluable to the lads. I think they'll learn off him immensely in training, watching him and him talking about his experiences and being in positions. Well, I wouldn't say promotion, because when he was at the top level, he was in the lower part of the Premier League. Yeah, but certainly, like I said, just playing at a higher level, I think the lads will learn from him, and that can only be a positive in my eyes. I agree with you. I think he's head and shoulders above and better than Leak at the minute. I think Leak could get better with age, but at the minute he was causing us too many nervy moments. Not always goals, but just giving the ball away, bad decisions, bad tackles sometimes. And I've not seen that from Mariappa yet. Yes, he's given the ball away a couple of times, but there's never been one where I've gone mental at him. I know he cost us a goal. I think he did actually cost us a goal, Mariappa, but I just feel a lot more comfortable with him in the back four than I do Leak at the minute. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the time of the season as well, it's a little bit kamikaze football. Everybody's flooding it and going for it, or sitting back and holding on for dear life. It's strange football at the minute that we're seeing, and obviously we've shown that with them 2 goals where we've been scoring in 90 plus, 95 and 97 minutes. So, it's a strange time, but I think having him there is a good thing. No, he's not pulling up any trees, but I don't think he needs to. Like I said, I just think the lads will learn from him.
Yeah. Just as you mentioned, Leak, this is kind of sliding away from Mariappa slightly, but obviously it's the same spot that he's filling. So if it's not Mariappa, it's going to be Leak sitting in there. So, and I think this is where we've got to be a little bit careful, kind of what we wish for. I think Leak's better than what he looked like at the beginning of the season, if that's a positive. Yep. So I think he has settled a little bit more. I think he has been a little bit more composed on the ball. We're seeing that he can play a ball, but he's not the best of ball playing defenders, but he can play a ball occasionally. He's play a 3 in 10, 4 in 10. But I want to take you back to a player that was played about 4 or 5 years ago, a centre half. I thought he was okay. I didn't think he set the world alight. He went by the name of Cameron Burgess. I thought he was okay. I thought he was pretty decent. He was pretty strong in the air, but again, like Leak, there's quite a few parts of the game that was missing. And I don't think, because these players like Cameron Burgess at the time when he was with us, and like Leak, who's come from Burton, who the fans said was a good prospect, they've obviously got some good quality. They just need nurturing. Because the reason why I mention this, because if you look at someone like Cameron Burgess now, he's playing for Ipswich, who who are right up there at top of League One.
Playing well, aren't they? Yeah, they are. They're playing well.
And he's played every single game. He's played pretty much every single game. So he's playing at a really good level. I'd expect him that if he's kept on in for the Championship, I think he'll start, and I think he'll do well there. And these players are doing that. and we've kind of let them go. Sorry?
He learned it all at Salford.
Of course he did, yeah. Yeah.
Quality coaching we have.
We've not learned it from Gary Neville, though, has it?
Mariappa. So basically, the biggest worry for me was he came in when there was 8 games to go. That's a massive gamble, so he started off a little bit nervy, a little bit terrible. He seems okay now. 2 matches left. We need him to be okay or better. If he makes mistakes, then it's maybe a bad decision bringing him in. But yeah, 8 games to go. It's tough for him and the rest of the team. It's hard. With Leak, like you say, he's improved during the season, like you said. And the hard thing for Leak for me is the person in front of him has changed quite a bit. The midfield's changed about quite a lot. So the people in front of him, he hasn't had much protection to a certain extent. He's a young lad, and as you said, he needs the games to improve. So at the beginning of the season, Leak, I was like, whoa, don't fucking play him all the time. But now he does need the games. He's improving with games. But like I said, we just got to what Mariappa players, and he doesn't make the mistakes Rousey were pointed out before in the last 2.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. One more player that I want to kind of bring to the forefront is somebody who's obviously come back from a huge career, like not career defining, I suppose, but it's one that's going to live with him for a long time in terms of Shepps, doing his hamstring and having play about best part of 7 or 8 months, 9 months out of the game. And people coming back from that kind of type of injury where they've been out for so long, it's the mental aspect of it as well to get over an injury like that. And I just think he's come back, and at the moment he kind of looked. I mean, he was sharp anyway, and he started off. If we go back last season, when did he do it? Beginning of this season, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
He
played a few games at the start of the season.
Last season, I thought Shepps were. He was like that for me. He was a 50-50 for me. I must admit. But he started the season, I thought, this is a whole new player. He looks really, really good. Gets that injury. And I actually, up until that point, I thought he's probably one of our best players on the pitch. And now he's come back, looks fitter than ever now. And like you've mentioned, Danny, some of the balls been put in. I know you've been saying it on your podcast. Yeah. Just the quality of the ball, the right pace, the right kind of height. It's just a ball waiting to be attacked every time. And something that he does, he obviously got a good partnership with ball and it's laid off, but he's hitting the ball first time. And I think that's probably where Touray lacks. I don't believe Touray thinks he's got the technical ability to put a ball in first time. That's why he has to stop it, roll it out, and set himself up to cross the ball. Whereas Shepps goes, ping it back, and I'll just put it into the box first time. And the thing is, that's allowing us to get. You're not allowing the defenders to get set quick enough. When Touray does it, the ball gets played out. He stops the ball. He rolls it out. By that point, defenders are ready. That ball's got to be whipped in quick, and that's why I think Hendry and Smith are kind of getting on the end of his crosses because they know what's going to come. They do it in training, and I just think it's worth a mention. I just think Shepps is definitely come back at the right time, and he's I suppose that's the difference between him and nothing against Lowe. Lowe's done a really good job, and he's kind of a bit of a makeshift player wherever we've needed, he's filled in. But you can't replace Lowe's. Nowhere near the type of player Shepps is in terms of what he offers, certainly going forward as well. I just wonder if you've got any points to add to that, chaps.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, if I'm being honest, Martin. Like I said, no, you have. He's
the time.
He's an out right back, and that's what we need. That's what he is. That's what he does, and what he does well. You know what I mean? Since he's come back, has he got 3 assists? It's so, like I said, the quality of balls are good that he puts in from what we've seen. He's a good defender. I hope that injury stays away for him for his own benefit, because like I said, I think he needs that. I think he needs to get up there, because I don't think he's 100% match fit yet. But hopefully, like I said, I think if he can stay injury free, touch wood he does, whatever league we're in next season, I think he'll be a big part of it. I really do. It's a position that I feel okay with, with what we've got there. I know Touray's made team of the season, but like I said, I think constantly this this year, rightly or wrongly, we've criticised him because we watch him week in, week out, where these these stat masters don't. They're just looking at how many assists he's got, and it's great, it's brilliant that he's got 9 or 10 assists this season, but that's probably out of 6,630 crosses that he's got 9 assists. A lot of them do, or I should say, don't get past the first man because his crossing isn't as accurate, let's say, as Shepherd's is. But yeah, look, like I said, I like Shepherd. I'm not digging Touray out, but I think when we look at that and why he's got in the team of the season, they've just looked at his stats and how many clean sheets he does get in that back four, and they've probably gone, yeah, he's all right, we'll put him in there. Whereas, like I said, I think Shepherd does have a bit of a bit more about him in that position on the opposite side. I think his crosses are pretty much bang on.
Might be a little bit harsh, but I'm not too sure on Shepherd's defending. Maybe he can prove me wrong, but I think he's better going forward than he is going backwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not 100% sure he's a great right back, but he's a great right midfielder. Right side of 5, I would say, but the right side of 4, I'm not 100% sure yet.
I think though, in modern day football, you tend to have that. You have one of the wing backs that's good or better at going forward, and then one that's better at defending. And I think Touray is a better defender. But like I said, I think for the position that he plays in the modern day fullback, you're attacking more than you are defending. That's what you're there for.
In a back four?
It's not a back four though, is it? We don't really play a back four, I don't think. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, yeah, I agree with you. He probably, there is better defenders than him at defending, but I don't think that's what he's there for, is what I'm saying.
I don't think we're proving wrong, to be honest, because I don't think we've seen him that much because of his injury. That's probably where I'm missing out, I think.
I mean, the thing is, there is an element of him. He's only just come back. He's not match fit. To get up and down the pitch, it's hard work. What I'll also say is, let's be honest, if you're a right back or any position for that matter, but we're talking about a right back, Shepherd. If you're a defender who's brilliant at defending, brilliant at getting forward and putting the ball in, you ain't playing League 2 football. So there's got to be a compromise. There's an off balance, and just rolling on. I was going to come on to the team of the season, but just to bring Touray into that now. But for me, yes, he's got 9 assists. I think that's what he's got. He's got team of the season. I think the way that we play and expecting that our right back, left back, wing backs, we expect them to get forward to assist the wingers. Shepps has only just come back and he's got 3 out of the last 4 or 5 games over the season. He probably would have got 9 or 10 assists. Would he have made the team of the season? So I don't think it. For me, I would. My feeling, and I hope I'm wrong, but I've got a sneaking feeling now that he's made team of the season, we're going to give him an extended contract. But and again, I say that I'm trying to be kind with that because. I love Touray for everything that he's done for the time he spent at the club. It's a great achievement to play 250 games for one club and the things that he's done. He's been through a lot of our promotions, but for me, he's not the player to take forward. Sorry, Gav.
He's got 100 clean sheets as well over that time as well. Is it 253 games, 100 clean sheets or something?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he should be in the team of the decade then.
The one with Touray, I think we've all got at him at certain times this season, and rightfully we have. But one thing I wanted to say, this last few weeks, he listens to the podcast. He knows we're getting at him. He can hear fans getting at him. The amount of fans who give him abuse, he can hear that. But he's turning in week out, and he's trying. He carries on and carries on. And all credit to Touray. He deserves every bit of credit he gets because, like I say, I think he has carried on. And the last few games, again, he just keeps going. And a lesser player his head could have gone and he could just flopped. So yeah, I think the captaincy should never have been given to him. I think it was too much weight on his shoulders.
Pressure, yeah, I agree with that, Gav.
He's always come back. He's always come back, game in, week out, and he carries on trying, carries on. He puts his heart and soul into that game. And like I said, the amount of abuse he does get from a stands, because I hear it can't be too easy.
Yeah, it's a good point, and to stay motivated when, obviously he can hear some of the. I know where I sit, and I don't sit too far away from Danny as well. That I think it was at the last home game. He was trying to make a forward run. There was no one in front. He'd have to go back, and he's putting his hands up, going as if to say, "Where's the support?" And at that time, we was all shouting, "Support him! You need to give him the support. He's got no outlet for the pass." There's other times where he gets the ball, you go, "Run," and he goes, "No." And that's the frustration. But again, where the north stand is and where Touray is, it's quite close. So every little mumble and grumble, he's picking up on it. And like you say, Gav, I think give him a little bit of credit is he's cracking on and you can see he's got the passion. You saw it after the game and his fist pumps and stuff. He's got the passion. It's just look, football's all about opinions, isn't it?
Of course it is.
One last thing on Shep, if I could.
Yeah, go for it.
It was just, I remember, I'm going right back to the Warrington Rylands pre-season game here. If any of you went to that, so that was quite a good day out for me. That, so I do remember Shep played in that. I believe he did, and he was playing behind on the same flank as Luke Bolton. And the thing I was most impressed with Shep was how he was constantly communicating with Luke. He was always telling him when to press, when to come back. And I actually think with them two kind of on the same side again, because we forget how young Luke is. He's a young professional. He's not had much first team football anywhere. And so having someone who's more vocal behind him and who's also attacking, because don't forget that Luke has been tremendous recently at tracking runners back. So as much as we're criticising, and I said on my own podcast, Gav, that I do think one-on-one, Shep is not brilliant at defending. I totally agree with that. So having Bolton, who's quite defensively aware and quick enough to track runners back, will help, and the organisation coming from Shep's voice will help Luke. So I think that's possibly a chicken dinner on the right for me.
But this is a team game, isn't it? You kind of want your teammate who's in front of you to come back and help out. Equally, that's what Shepherd does with Bolton. Bolton's running down. Don't worry, mate. I'm behind you. Whip the ball back to me. I'll whip it in the box. It's team efforts on both sides, And I know there's talks about Touray's had, Touray's had more people in front of him than Shepherd's had in front of him. It's usually Bolton on the right, and that's kind of the same for him. Whereas Touray, 1 week it's Barry, 1 week it's McAllen, and it's chops and changes trying to get that. It's all about partnerships, isn't it? But one player that has made the team this season, I think rightly so, is Elliot Watt, which it was amazing. I think what a season he's had. What a season, eh? I just make up as I go along.
You've been waiting all day for it.
Yeah. Honestly, that just slipped out. So yeah, pun intended. No, I think it's just been fantastic, and I think for me, obviously, I'm glad we've got him for next season. I would like to chuck another year extension or 2 years on him and tie him up for at least 2 years, because obviously next year will be his last year. So I want to make sure we tie him up for 2, maybe 3 years. I'll give him the captaincy personally, depending on obviously depends on who we bring in. But I just think if at the moment that would be my first pick. We've said this all along, but yeah, definitely well deserved. So what a well done, mate.
I'd cash him in and get some more bar staff and do the toilets up.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works, though, Martin. I think if we keep Alex Cairns, he should get the captaincy next year.
Well, I mean, obviously, he's an experienced pro, isn't he? Who, as a goalkeeper, should be good with his mouth, and he's the one person that can see everything in front of him. He doesn't have to do a 180-degree turn to see what's behind him. It's everything's in front. So I don't mind that. The only negative that I see is a goalkeeper. Yes, you can see all the game, but sometimes when you're up the pitch, when you just need that little bit of motivation, the keeper's quite far away. It's pros and cons to that. We've moved on now. Come on, Gav.
Let it go, Gav. Let it go.
I've got someone, Alex Kearns. Just a very quick one. I noticed it. Him and Tom King have actually played the same amount of games this season now. They both played 21 games. They both played 1,890 minutes for us. So it's not bad, is it? I suppose you don't get subbed, so you know.
What's the
how are we in terms of clean sheets and everything? Have
right.
you got those stats,
I've got it all here on FB.
Why go into it?
Come on,
okay.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so let's go into the quiz part of it. So who's got a better goals against per 90? Who's let less goals in per 90 minutes? King or Kearns?
I'm going to say Kearns. I'm saying Kearns. I'm going with him.
Gav,
going with my boy.
Kearns.
Right. We've got, so Tom King let an average of 1 goal per 90 in, and Kearns is 1.33.
We want King back.
So what about last save percentage? Might follow, might it?
King.
That's very close. That King is 71.6 and Kearns is 70.8. But for me, it's about big. It doesn't record it on the site, but who's made the most big saves this season? Alex Kearns. It by about a country mile. So he's won us more points, in my opinion, than Tom King ever would.
I don't think so.
All right.
Oh, just being argumentative, innit?
Edinburgh Castle.
Edinburgh Castle.
Stornoway.
Chaps, let's take it forward a little bit, because I think we're up to play about an hour now. So but saying that, I actually think this has probably been I know this has been a really good episode so far.
I've not bought in yet in this one.
Lots of content. No, you've done all right, Gav. I think you're behaving because you're away.
Can I go back to Danny's comment about King and Kearns?
Yeah.
I think it's very right to bring him up because Kearns is a Neil Wood. I think we said it before. He's a Neil Wood player, isn't he? Tom King, plain and simply, he couldn't play it out. He wasn't a Neil Wood player. So Kearns wins head and shoulders for Salford, as in number one, so to say. Yeah. So good stats, but Kearns, he can kick it. He plays football, 100%.
You said he was registered disabled, Gav, and it's on this podcast, right? I said, can he kick it?
When did he say that?
Go on again, jokingly, but I said, because it's so important, distribution to Neil Wood. I said this new keeper who we're bringing in, Alex Kearns, before he played, can he kick it? And then under his breath, Gav just went, he's registered disabled. I don't know if you remember. You did. I just thought it's topical with what you've just said. So go back in the archives.
Yeah, he's shit kind of new keeper. He's getting a 2-year contract at the end of the season, I think.
Oh, good.
Throwing you right on the bus there, Gavin. Hey?
I hope he does anyway. I like him a lot.
I like it a lot.
As do I.
I like him a lot.
I think I was talking about he always gets injured, doesn't he, in his previous clubs?
Oh.
Who does?
Kearns. He's never played a full season before. He's never played more than 32 games, I think.
That's because he's been fed up at all the other clubs. We're just obviously a match made in heaven.
He's waiting for Mark and give him a call.
Right, guys, let's have a look at good point at Danny. It was a nice little on the spot quiz as well. I like that. Nice one, mate. Carlisle, big game this Saturday, chaps. I mean, if I was to say which is the biggest game, Carlisle and Gillingham, I think, to be fair, you couldn't pick between them because they could mean exactly the same. For Carlisle on paper is the hardest game, but Gillingham will want to come and upset the party, won't they? So let's look at Carlisle first. So 5th at the moment, 3 points ahead of us. I think we're going to need to win 4-0 to sort of go above them on goal difference, because I think there's an 8-goal swing or wherever it may be. So I don't know. I can't see that happening, but we can match them on points, which is good. 2 players in particular that I think we obviously need to be aware of. I'm sure Woody and the team have already got them lined up. Is obviously Christian Dennis. I think he's got 19-20 goals this season so far, and obviously the midfielder Owen Moxon, who also I think he made team of the season as well. So yeah, they've got some good players in there. Rightly deserved of where they are. If we look at the last 3 games, they beat Barrow in the last game 1-0. And the last 2 before that, they drew 2-2 with Stockport and 0-0 with Northampton. Again, top teams in playoffs, and obviously Northampton in the top 3. So, guys, it's going to be an absolute barnstorm of a game. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think we need to get that 4 or 5 goal swing thing out of our head, and just like I've just said there, just be in it. No, just be in the playoff mix come the end of that game. Still, I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't want to think about it because it gives me anxiety. But I just hope that it's not one of them games where it turns into a damp squid for us. You know what I mean? Where there's lots riding on it. We've done really, really well to get to this game, and still, well, be in a very, very good chance. I know Orient did us a favour yesterday, which has helped us massively, and it's in our hands now. So, yeah, like I said, I just want to be come 90 minutes. Come 90 minutes, come full time, coming away from that ground, and still being in the mix, and going into the Gillingham game. That's all we really can ask for. I don't want to think too much about it because, like I said, it can go either way. 2 very, very good teams. They absolutely battered us at our place. Although it was a different Salford than I think up to that point. We ended the goal drought, didn't we, when we'd not scored in about 4 or 5 games against Carlisle, and we broke it, and then they went and scored 4 or 5. They beat us 4 or 5-1, I think, from memory. But yeah, they're a good team, and they're up there for a reason. But so are we. Like I said, it's almost impossible to predict because I don't know what Salford's going to turn up. We've been lucky the last couple of games when we have won last minute. I just want us to do our job properly. You know what I mean, and be in the game and go into the last game with a good chance of still getting the playoffs. That's all I'm asking for. Not a lot.
Well, I mean, just to Rousey 4-1 it was when they played at our place, and obviously, as I mentioned, that Christian Dennis, he got 2 against us. So
they were awesome. They were awesome, but the fans had a big part to play in that as well. And so hopefully, Amis that are going, just make as much noise as you can, loud and proud. It should be a good day. It's the fancy dress day as well, so should be good spirits. Hopefully, we can all come away still in those good spirits, because I do. I think the fans give our back 4 and Cairns a torrid time. You know what I mean? Banging on the boards and just making as much noise as they could. And I think it worked. I think it G'd the team on. I don't think they're any better than us on the pitch. I think we're 2 evenly matched teams, but it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough.
It's two teams that like to attack as well. You know, they've got plenty of goals. They've got 62 goals they've scored. I think we've got that scored about 67. So, you know, it's 2 fairly even on that side. Like you say, Rousey, I think it's going to be Saturday's going to be between 3 and 5 o'clock. I reckon it's going to be back and forth. We're going to be looking at our phones. I think Bradford Mansfield games are going to go back and forth, and it's just going to be. Hopefully we can get a goal in front and try and settle nice and early, because I think there'll be a lot of nerves out there. A draw would be a very good result, providing that 1 or 2, just even one result goes our way. It just puts as long as we can go into the Monday game in Monday the 6th against Gillingham, and it's in our hands, then it's down to us, Vans to be the 12th man and get them over and get in playoffs.
That's all we want. Like I said, I think it's going to be tough. I think going there and winning is a tough ask, but we can do it. What I have seen from the lads, and which has been good and positive, I wouldn't say they've shown fear. If anything, they've gone complete role reversal. You know, when we're conceding in the whatever it was against Walsall, 89th minute, and missing 92nd minute penalties. They've just carried on and fought till the end, which is what you want to see. You want that, but as much as it's brilliant when it happens, I don't think the nerves could take another game like that again. They've took the toll on me, but brilliant when they happen. But like I said, I'd like a nice if we're going to win, a nice comfortable one where we do hard work early doors and get the job done. But I don't think it's going to be like that. If I was having a prediction, I'd probably say it will be a draw, I think.
Well, I'm not going to ask for predictions because
I don't want you to.
Like I'm going to bottle it.
Yeah, I don't want you to. Don't.
One thing I missed out is just a little bit of appreciation for Mr. Richie Wellens.
Yeah.
So far.
Cheers, Richie. Always liked you.
Well, I've got a problem with this. With
what I bet you did, yeah.
And before you put your thumb up when you said Leighton Orient, and on the internet and what have you, saying, "Oh, Leighton Orient, we love you." Sorry, they fucking hate us to bits. They do not like us one bit. We're a piece of shit on our shoe. Do not give Leighton Orient any respect in the world. They're a bunch of southern scumbags, yeah? All this, we love you. They hate us. Genuinely, they hate us. Don't go, oh, they beat... Mansfield didn't win because they weren't good enough.
Yeah, to be fair, they were poor. They were poor, Mansfield.
Injuries. Don't give any of this bollocks to fucking Leighton Orient.
There's people having a nice quiet drink on balcony.
I know, yeah, on the balcony.
Dropping F-bombs and everything.
Leighton Orient, cunts!
Oh, let's hope no one's from London, where you are.
Gents, I was gonna. Danny, do you want to add anything to the Carlisle preview, mate?
I'm all right. No, it's. I just think all I'm thinking about these last games is that all these late comebacks and all this kind of up and down roller coaster. It feels like sometimes it just feels like it's heading towards something. Like like when they say your name's on the cup, that kind of thing. It just feels like, we're staying close for a reason, and it just feels like it might mean something at the end of the day. So that means we might get some good results, whatever that might mean.
I was texting a few people on when the Walsall game and they was just saying like how screwing up again, and then obviously we won, and I just said straight away after that game, I went, we're getting the playoffs, aren't we? It's everything that's happened in the last sort of 5-6 games. We've been down and out and missed penalties and all those. You don't get. There's not many teams in a whole season that has just like a late comeback like we had against, say, like Wimbledon. To have 2 or 3 in one season just shows. I'm not a spiritual person or anything like that, but when they talk about stars are aligned and all that, it kind of makes you think, doesn't it? You go, this. Now I'm not saying for 1 minute that if we get in place we're going to win it, and I hope we do, but it just seems like this could be the time where we actually just make the playoffs, and I'll be happy with that. Regardless of what the outcome is. Of course, I'd want them to go all the way, but it just keeps the season alive for another 2 weeks, doesn't it? For the semis and the final. And I think if we get to the Wembley, I don't care who we play. We talked about the bigger pitch. I think we'll beat anybody. I've just got to get to that Wembley final. We've got to get past Carlisle and Gillingham first. But
let's get Saturday out of the way first.
What Andy said before, I think the most important thing, because he didn't give us a chance to talk about Carlisle because he said it all himself. But the most important thing is we've got to still be in with a chance on the last game of the season. So whatever score it is, we're all unsure. We don't want bet, but like I say, as long as we're in with a chance on the last day, we're in the mix. That's all we can ask for. Then, like I say, hopefully it's in our own hands at home and we'll get beat. No.
Why do you invite him on? Honestly.
Oh dear. But in all fairness, you can kind of see that's what would happen. We'd lose against Carlisle, but Bradford or Mansfield would lose as well, so nothing changes. We go into the last game against Gillingham, right, it's in our own hands. Just need to better somebody else's result. And after all the hard work done in the last 6-7 weeks with the games that we played, it's kind of gone, that's it, game over. Season's finished. See you next year. We said on the agenda we was going to put Gillingham in there. I don't think we do the Gillingham right now.
You can't just
because we don't know what situation.
Let's just hope that game means something.
Yeah. We'll come back to that next week. We'll do.
I think we could say something about the Gillingham game. It's 12:30. It's 12:30. Bank holiday Monday. get your tickets, and let's get everybody down there. Get behind the team, and let's
same for Carlisle as well. Those that can make it, get down there. Give the lads all the support you can because they need them next 2 games.
The actual when we go to away days, and like I say, some of the away days are a bit drab, but the ones which are uplifting, the ones which are better, and the fans are behind the team, you can see the difference in the players, and they actually come and they appreciate it. It does make a difference. So get your tickets, get down there, and like I say, let's if you believe Salford can do it, let's push them over that line.
Yeah, well said, Gav.
Go on, Gav.
Go on. I know there's a reason why we invited you on this podcast. After all, don't believe what Rousey says.
No.
I'm on your side, Gav, on this time.
Thank you,
guys. I think let's wrap it up there. I think it's a slightly longer one than we normally do, but actually I think we've covered a lot of good points there. I think it's actually been a really good podcast. I know we can be biased and say it all the time, but I generally think it's worked really well. So I hope the fans, if you listened, if you got to this far, you've done really well. You need to listen this far just to listen to Gav shouting off his balcony. So Danny, Rousey, Gav, thanks very much for being good guests, bringing lots to the table.
Can you?
Fans, like Gav said there, he's put it right. I won't be at the game, but please, if you're not doing anything on Saturday, get to the game, whether you drive. I mean, I think we're taking about 4 coaches.
It's not that far. You can get there in a couple of hours.
Yeah, it's about an hour and 20, an hour and a half from here. Get up there, get up the M6, go and cheer the lads on, and hopefully we can bring the ball back with us for the Gillingham game, where everything's in our own hands. We can have a bit of a party beforehand. We can party afterwards as well. So,
cheers, Martin.
Bye, Woody. Bye, Woody and team.
Yeah.
Night all.
See you, Woody.
Toodaloo.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.